Hey there, Film Buds. Welcome back to the Film Buds podcast. I'm your host, Paul.
And I'm Lauren.
And happy New Year's Eve, everybody.
Woo!
It's the last Film Buds episode of 2022. It's been quite the year for movies. It's been quite the year for the show. We've gotten to bring y'all a lot of different content. We've gotten to bring you some new and upcoming things. We've written you some content. So it's been a year that I'm ultimately pretty proud of for the overall outcome.
Heck yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I feel good. I feel another year down. Gotta watch a lot of stuff. Looking forward to the next year of watching a lot more stuff.
Always.
Yep, here on the Film Buds.
Mm-hmm. Until your eyes hurt.
Exactly. If you're not experiencing eye fatigue, then you're not watching enough stuff.
That's right. Loving something is pain.
Exactly.
And so if you love films, it should eventually become pain.
All day.
Sisyphusian.
Mm-hmm. Undying pain.
Mm-hmm. An endless struggle.
Woo!
But in all earnesty, it has been a lot of fun. For our last episode of the year, I thought that we could do two things. I thought that we could talk about 2022 in film.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought that we could talk about our final film of the year, of course, what we're here to review and discuss, Steven Spielberg's semi-autobiographical film, The Fabelmans.
Yes.
So, I guess, do you want to start on our discussion on 2022 overall, or do you want me to kick things off?
Oh, by all means, kick it off.
Okay. Overall, I actually really enjoyed this year. There was a lot of stuff that I was really engaged with, really interested in going to see this year. All of the big sort of obvious splashy things like, and, the blockbuster kind of things like The Batman, Five Cream.
5 Cream.
Turning Red.
Mm-hmm.
All of the things that definitely had that sort of built-in awareness coming into the year.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of them, for the most part, I thought hit the mark of where I expected them to sort of hit in terms of how good I expected them to be. The Batman was just as good as I wanted it to be, better in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Turning Red was phenomenally enjoyable and very clever. Five Cream, I guess, was probably a little bit more of a disappointment, but it still wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, though, I really enjoyed the year. I think that for me, the real winner, as I look at a list of movies that came out this year, I mean, the undeniable winner of the year is horror as a genre. Nope, X, Pearl, Barbarian, the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, Halloween Ends, Men, Bodies. So when I think that you look at this year, I think that this is actually like an absolute Prey. This was an absolute mop-up year for horror. It really kicked ass.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, I felt that. One of the movies, or one of the genres that we turned out the most for in theaters was horror.
Mm-hmm.
And they were also some of the best experiences on screen this year for me as a viewer as well.
Well, honestly, horror is the only genre I feel like that is still allowed to do weird shit. Just take the idea and then really dig through all of what it can be. Unlike other genres where they like to stick very close to what's been successful before.
Mm-hmm.
Horror and horror fans are here to expect the unexpected and to be, terrified to some degree.
Yeah, or even just, I think that, like, Crimes of the Future probably still qualifies to a degree. Someone, I'm sure, finds that body elements of that film.
It is horror because it is the body horror. It is this weird world that they live in, It's it's science fiction horror.
Yeah. And so I think across the board, like, yeah, to your point, it can be bold, it can be daring, whereas I think that, like, dramas, especially the ones that get noticed and picked up and seen, you know, typically, by and large, have this kind of, you know, award season sensibility.
Oh yeah, no, you know the ones that are really trying to get the Oscar bait nominees, you know, which is so sad. Also,
yeah, actually, it sort of also goes along with the discussion I was having with Madeline, which is that a friend of the show and my sister, which was that it feels like legacy TV, or, you know, like not legacy TV, but like prestige television has now also become almost like a branded sensibility. You know, you can tell the shows on TV that are supposed to be the prestige dramas, whereas like it used to be that you had like The Sopranos, which was just a show, you know, Breaking Bad, which was just a show, you know,
but now you've got like The Crown.
Yeah, you know, and the new season of Game of Thrones, which, you know, is bringing with it this, Game of Thrones, you know, sort of sensibility. And so I feel like, to a degree, you can kind of see some of the similar things with some of the Oscar movies, right? I mean, you saw the trailers for Amsterdam, which is apparently not very good. I haven't seen it. And you could tell that it was like, this thing is coming for the Oscars, you know. Mm-hmm. It won't get there, which is funny, but, you know, it was very obvious. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my opinion, I think, overall. There were some big blockbusters that I really enjoyed, but by and large, like, a lot of the big blockbusters that were out this year were things that I wasn't going to go and see. Bullet Train I wasn't going to go and see. I did see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but that was more so because, I don't know, my parents wanted to go and see, I guess. Avatar: The Way of Water we did see and is incredible. I'm trying to think. Oh, Black Adam is bad. Everything Everywhere All at Once is wonderful. I was just talking about, like, the big budget, like, blockbuster kind of, you know.
Oh, was that not a big budget thing?
No.
Well, it looked like it was. I guess that proves the point that you don't need a big budget to slap ass.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the visual effects team of that movie was a lot of, like, self-taught people.
Copy.
Interesting.
So, well, you know, for me, I guess I don't really know what is and is not supposed to be a blockbuster. I think the things that are supposed to be blockbusters are things that bust the block. You know, that they come in and drop the mic and then they leave. I don't think that really, I guess, necessarily has to be the things that come out between X time and X time.
No, yeah, but, you know, I was thinking about, you know, Thor: Love and Thunder and Lightyear and those sorts of things.
Those were supposed to be blockbusters? Mm-hmm. How do you know? Because of the time of year that they came out?
The advertising that went into them, the budget that was behind them, that sort of thing.
Okay, well, I guess I felt like then I still stand by Everything Everywhere All at Once being a blockbuster then, because it got a lot of advertising. It made huge in the box office, you know, and it's cribbing on a lot of other blockbuster-isms.
No, yeah, I guess I maybe should have said, like, you know, franchise legacy brand types of things more so.
Oh, well, for the common folk, that doesn't mean anything.
No, I get that. But that's more, I guess, of what I was angling at with that. And Bullet Train maybe isn't that, but, you know, it was a big splashy, you know, ensemble cast, you know, action movie thing.
Yeah, where nobody knew anybody's name other than the fact that Brad Pitt was in it.
No, fair enough. What are your thoughts on 2022?
Oh, I thought that this year was pretty successful for the most part for things that I wanted to see. And as always, it had things that I definitely never ever needed or wanted and can be thrown away instantly. Hocus Pocus 2, I'm looking straight at you. You know, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, get rid of it. Burn it with fire. Didn't need the first one. But there were a lot of things that, like, I really was looking forward to and, you know, went above and beyond my expectations for them. You know, like you said, there was the Batman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Nope, Glass Onion, X, and Pearl. I loved Turning Red. I thought that movie was exactly what a Pixar movie is supposed to be. And I hate the fact that we've gone so far away from what Disney Pixar used to be. as a brand. Now we're just, I think that Pixar's slipping. I think that Disney's gotten too much control.
Yeah, I mean, especially once, Lasseter left because of the creepy Uncle Lassie allegations. But with that, Disney got to then install their person. Mm-hmm. And change that structure, and reconfigure.
And I think that this is one of the best things that they've put out there so in the last few years, and that's including all of the times when they're like, all right, we're just going to suck on the Toy Story teat. They just keep slapping out Toy Story movies to keep reminding people that they exist. But I don't care about any of that anymore, because also you've done it too many times. Give me something new.
No, and also, just real quickly off of that, what I think is so interesting is that multiple big Pixar movies that would have gotten theater releases before, like Turning Red, Up, etc., were all straight to Disney Plusers.
Yeah, and so they didn't even get...
Lightyear got in the theater,
and I didn't need
it tanked.
Yeah, because it looked bad, and it was going to be bad. This was a new thing. Stop, again, sucking on the Toy Story teat and expecting that to get you the money that you want. But, Elvis, phenomenal.
Oh, incredible movie.
Such a good movie, such a fun time. Baz Luhrmann has never done better, I think.
No, this might be my favorite of his.
Oh, yeah. The Way of Water, beautiful. It really, reinvigorated my love for the franchise. And it's just a spectacle to see, truly, truly incredible. And, Prey, fantastic film. Prey was
another one that should have gotten a theater release.
Oh, it was so
I'd
good.
have paid good money.
You know what? I think that they should have gone that extra way and had it be originally in the native tongue, and then we dubbed in the
English actor.
Yeah, on top of it, because I would have, I think, accepted more so. And I know that this is probably not the mass opinion, and this is why they did it the other way. But I think that it would have felt more authentic for it to just feel like I was watching an anime. Where you're totally hearing the English speaker's voice, and it can be their voice, because obviously they cast an entire group of people who spoke English.
Yeah.
But I think that it would have been more powerful to have the Quechua be the mouth matching language that I was getting.
Mm-hmm.
Because we did watch it in Quechua, and it didn't, I think it pulled me out of it more so than I would like to have been. But other than that, I thought that movie was great. Again, another thing that reinvigorated my love for a franchise. And I think that that's where people are getting these things confused, is the fact that I didn't need Hocus Pocus 2, and you didn't give me anything new with that with this new version of it to make me go, gosh, I loved this. I loved being a part of this, and now it's a part of my Whambo Pambo combo. Mm-hmm. I have to watch these two things together. Or gosh, I keep hoping that they make more things like this. Like that movie, if the first movie is a 10, then this new movie is exactly the number that it gave us. It is a 2. And that's sad, Mm-hmm. That you could tell that Prey, they took a lot of care and time and effort into making this a really interesting Predator movie. Instead, Hocus Pocus did exactly like everything Disney does and goes, oh my gosh, we took something that you love? Great, that's all we needed to do.
Well, again, Mad and I had talked about that movie when it first came out. Mm-hmm. And I think that she's the one that said that, the first one was a horror movie for kids. Mm-hmm. But that this one, for her, felt like a true family movie.
Yeah, it's a comedy.
And I think that that's a really fair assessment, and I think that that is where, the second one is a little bit of a letdown. And also, it's a little bit, I think, in the directing style, because for me, some of the delivery, some of the timing, some of the beats feel like it's staged for television. Mm-hmm. We got to make sure that we leave this moment in for, a laugh track that isn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of a thing.
And that's such a waste of time. Why on earth do you want to taint something just because you want money? Did you really make all the money that you hoped out of this, Disney? Did you really make back the money that you put into that stinker? Probably, because you put barely a budget in that thing. Mm-hmm. You put all of your budget into getting the 3 witches back and said, all right, everybody else has to be a D class or lower actor, and we're just gonna, put some faith, trust, and pixie dust on this thing, and it's gonna land. And that's dangerous. You are gambling with people's time and money, and what is this? Something that just gets to get lost on your platform now. Thank goodness for it.
I know that you sometimes can struggle with creating lists of things, especially like ranking movies or something like that. So instead, I think that I'll give you something that might be a little bit easier for you.
Okay.
Give me like 5 standout performances for you that are like, these are great examples of giving it your all in a performance. From this year.
Okay, Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc is top 10 slam dunk. I think he does a phenomenal job. I love him as Benoit. This is my favorite Daniel Craig performance ever, because everything else I feel like he's doing is just another version of the James Bond that he was doing, and this is completely different, and I love it. It is so much fun. Let's see, another performance that I thought was just like top 10 great time Randys this year was, I thought that Austin Butler does a phenomenal job as Elvis. I was scared going into that film because I was afraid that he was going to pull down the entire thing because he wasn't going to be able to realistically...
To be Elvis.
Yeah, to be this person, not just the caricature. And I think that he does above and beyond of bringing humanity back to the caricature of Elvis that lives today. We now get to see a man again. Sure, he's eccentric, but he's being honestly eccentric because that's who he is.
It is just as hard as trying to cast Michael or Prince. You know, like, it's a real uphill battle.
No, for sure, honestly. I'm gonna have to, I'll give, no. I love the entire cast of Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that movie is weird, and I think that they are bringing a lot of grounding force to the weirdness and making it very relatable. And I think that that's hard when you get to do all of this fun stuff that you forget that there's a narrative behind this, which is this family that is struggling. Sure, there's all this glitz and this glamour, but there's a heartbeat of this family that is missing. Let's see. It came out today. It came out yesterday.
White Noise.
Greta
Gerwig?
Yes. I want to see more of her.
Her confession scene.
Oh, it's so good.
Is that the one that's coming to mind?
It's so good. It is. It's heartbreaking to watch her, and that's the whole point. And she lends herself so well to the role, and I was lost in her. I want to see more of her. Forget all of the people, forget all the nepotism babies. Let's bring Greta Gerwig up because she deserves it. Put her in everything now.
Greta Gerwig in the third Knives Out.
Yeah, honestly, let's do it in that same wig. And I think that, let's see, that was 4 that I was on. Yeah. I think that my 5th one is going to go to, oh my gosh, it's so difficult. I don't know her name. Pearl. I don't know her name.
Mia Goth.
I think that she gets, she gets on the list because also she did 2 different characters for the same franchise. Mm-hmm. I think she's so interesting. She's so passionate, and I want to see more of her because also, she's so young. I'm excited for the career that's going to come from, this actor. I think that it is truly, I'm proud of this year, of the things that came out. I don't care about the things that don't come out, so they're not even a part of the list. There's always the churro movies that come out every year, and they don't have to be recognized because they're supposed to be filler things for the things that are supposed to take your breath away. Mm-hmm. And I think that the things that truly, made me love watching movies, I've got a good list of things this year that I was shocked by, or was, along for the ride the entire time and was not disappointed by. And I think that that's hard, to have a healthy balance of films come out in a year. And I think that 2022, even with its struggles of all of these movies being made in COVID, I think that we have a year to be proud of.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree, and I think that you came with some great standout performances. For me, I think that I might actually write up a full best of list and post it.
Okay. You know me, I don't write anything.
So I'll do some standout performances for me from this year as well. I think that my overall performer of the year might actually be Colin Farrell.
In the Batman?
Just across the board. He was in like 3 movies this year. He did incredible work in all of them. And so I think that he's probably my across-the-board performer of the year is Colin Farrell. Some standout individual performances, and I'll try to make them all different than yours. Tom Hanks in Elvis.
Oh, yes.
It's a nasty little gremlin role for Tom Hanks, and I love it.
You know, America's uncle.
He was the showman, and I was the snowman. Like, I adore the weird little accent. I think that he's doing excellent in it. I love it. Justin Long in Barbarian.
Yeah, hell yeah, Justin Long in Barbarian.
He is funny as fuck. He has no right to be as funny with such a scummy character.
Yes!
And he absolutely sinks the thing. Zoe Saldana from Avatar: The Way of Water. She is, I think, Neytiri is one of her best roles. I know that people love her in Gamora, and we have more of Gamora, but I actually think that her best, like, franchise role, and maybe one of her best roles ever, is Neytiri.
Well, I think that it comes to her more naturally.
Yeah, and she imbues so much of herself directly into the Neytiri part, and I think that comes all the way through. That was, 3?
Yes.
Number 4, Brittany Snow in X. I thought that she was excellent. She was fun and playful and smart and dripping with sex appeal, and she was just popping on the screen every time that you saw her. It's a cast of great actors, but she managed to truly stand out even amongst them. So that puts me at number 4. My number 5 performance of the year. It's a real toughie. What's a performance that really just, like, hooked me and drug me all the way in, or really made me latch on that journey. I am gonna go with from Pinocchio. I'm gonna go with David Bradley.
Oh, fantastic! He did a great job.
Is fantastic. David Bradley, for those of you who don't know, is Argus Filch in the Harry Potter films. He is typically cast as that curmudgeonly, nasty, sort of figure. He's the guy in Hot Fuzz, that has all the guns that they need to bring the one guy to be the translator for. And so he always does that kind of thing, and he does a great job as a heartbroken father on a journey towards acceptance of death and life at the very end of his life. And I think that it's a great vocal performance, and it shows 2 things, I think, really well. One, how much you can take an actor that isn't known for that type and let them play it, and they can play it great. And blow away your expectations. And 2, it shows just how powerful a vocal performance can be.
Yeah, especially because they don't get the opportunity to have all of the physicality of being, they can't use any bit of their body other than their voice. And so it is truly, to your point, a great mastery, I think, of acting to be able to give me all of that emotional, dripping performance with just your voice.
Yeah. My breakout star for me, I think, of the year was Rowan Campbell for Corey Cunningham from Halloween Ends.
Oh, yes.
That's my breakout
that's
performance
totally
of the
fair.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Because charismatic as hell. Mm-hmm. Electric on screen. Utterly convincing. Just as powerful a transition story toward monsterhood as I'm sure that Dahmer series was. Mm-hmm. But, all succinctly tied into this incredible franchise. And I think that he managed to carry a role that could have crumpled other actors very well.
Yeah, I think that that's totally fair. I think that all sounds... I am very agreeable with all of these things that you have said. What are 5 movies that came out this year that you have no interest in ever watching?
Ooh, interesting. Bullet Train. The Minions, Rise of Gru. Mm-hmm. Uncharted.
Oh god, that's a good one.
Jurassic World Dominion.
Oof.
And Secrets of Dumbledore.
Oh gosh, that was such a good list. Oh, that was such a good list. Okay. I'll match you with okay. Let me look through this list of movies that came out this year. I'm gonna try and not do any of the ones that you did. Oh, it's so difficult though. I have really no interest in watching the Lightyear movie.
Okay.
Like like I said earlier, like
take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'm fine, guys. I'm fine. Stop it. Just stop it. Morbius.
It's Morbin time.
Oh, Morby. Let's see.
God damn it, Morby.
Oh God, it just looks awful. Did you say The Lost City?
No.
I'm gonna say The Lost City. I do not want to watch that Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't need it.
Right, that's 3. You got 2 more.
Okay. The Enola Holmes 2 can
fair.
burn.
Okay.
Burn in the pits of hell. And I'm going to say Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
All right. There you go. You hit 5. Congratulations.
Yeah, 10 movies that we didn't want to watch on the Film Buds.
I did kind of blow you out of the water on the first 5.
No, yeah, I really had to look at the rest of the films that came out this year.
I'm a little surprised you didn't pick Death on the Nile.
Because I forgot that it was that it even came out this year. And oh, there it is. Oh gosh, I looked past it every single time. No, okay, that gets an honorable mention. Death on the Nile. Mm-hmm. With enough champagne.
That's right. But overall, I think, honestly, for me, good year of movies.
Yeah, again, like I said, there have to be bad movies. Every year has to have some bad movies in order for the great ones to truly shine. But also,
as I really look at this,
it was hard to pick the 5 movies.
Yeah, and also, across the board, generally speaking, I'm looking at a lot of gold.
Yeah.
I mean, even Chippendale Rescue Rangers was a surprise, really good movie.
Yeah, honestly, I was looking at that, I had forgotten about that movie entirely. Mm-hmm. No, and there's still movies on this list that we can't comment on because we haven't seen them yet that I still want to see.
Yeah, that I'm still actively I'm looking forward to watching this.
Yeah, the Northman. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Mm-hmm. Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
I honestly do want to see Babylon. I know that it's very divisive right now, but I'm interested.
What is it divisive about?
People love it or hate it.
Oh, okay. At least it's not racist or something.
No,
I don't
people
know.
love it or hate it.
Okay. Well, I guess something that I still have to see is Wakanda Forever. I'm more curious than anything.
Have to feels really strong.
I don't think that it's going to be good.
Have to feels really strong.
But I want to form my own opinion about it.
No, I get that.
As a black person, I feel like I have to watch this film.
I get that.
Tar. Totally want to see Tar.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think that again, I think this has been a damn fine good year of 2022.
Yeah.
In the film industry, and I'm looking forward to what's coming out next year. Honestly, 2023 doesn't sound like a bad year so far.
No, I mean, in 2023 we're going to be getting Barbie, we're going to be getting Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Oppenheimer, Guardians Volume 3, Dune Part 2, John Wick Chapter 4, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. We're going to be getting the Napoleon movie. We're getting Scream 6, Cocaine Bear.
Oh, Cocaine Bear sounds bananas.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I think Creed 3 looks really good. We're getting another Evil Dead movie. We're getting the Renfield horror. We're getting the Renfield movie, which has Nicolas Cage as Dracula. I mean, we're getting, some pretty exciting, even just in terms of like the big franchise stuff, we're getting some pretty exciting stuff. Blue Beetle.
Wow, I can't believe they're making a Blue Beetle movie.
Yeah, and so I'm really looking forward to some of the stuff that's coming out next year that's even like, the big budget.
Did Megan come out this year?
It's coming out January, I believe, of next year.
Okay, so Megan is technically a next year movie. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I think that it's going to be a fun Chucky kind of movie, and I'm curious how they've modernized it.
Knock at the Cabin. The upcoming M. Night Shyamalan movie. I'm always game for an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Hell
yeah. The flip of the coin is the most fun.
Yeah. So I'm actually, to your point, I also am looking forward to 2023 as well. I love that we're getting back-to-back Tom Cruise doing mad shit action movies.
Yeah, of course.
That's great for me.
That is great for you. He's one of your favorites. I know it's true.
Yeah. I agree with the tweet that's like he and Christopher Nolan should never work together because they will kill him on screen.
yeah, and call it art.
Yeah, and it'll be the world's greatest snuff film. We're gonna knock The Crow off that pedestal.
Woo! Dark.
And so, I guess with our wrap-up of 2022 completed, we should go ahead and finish our last review of 2022, or get started on our last review of 2022.
Yes.
Which is this year's The Fabelmans. So, The Fabelmans is written by Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner. It's directed by Steven Spielberg. The premise is growing up in post-World War II era Arizona, young Sammy Fabelman aspires to become a filmmaker as he reaches adolescence, but soon discovers a shattering family secret and explores how the power of films can help him see the truth. It stars Michelle Williams as Mitzi Fabelman, Paul Dano as Bert Fabelman, Seth Rogen as Benny Lowy, Judd Hirsch as Uncle Boris, and it features, in a breakout performance, young Gabriel LaBelle as Sammy Fabelman. And I guess with all that said, dear, what did you think of The Fabelmans?
I was honestly very surprised by this movie. I thought this movie I walked into this movie, I thought it was going to be bad. I thought this movie was going to be, really, really up Steven's ass of, look at my life on the big screen, isn't it pretty? Because I also don't know anything about Steven or his life, because I've never looked it up and I've never cared to. And so it was just interesting to go down this rabbit hole of this like pseudo autobiography of who he was and his family and the dynamic and the worlds that he lived in. And I really enjoyed this movie a lot. It's set up in the way that it starts with basically like him seeing his first film, and then it ends with him getting basically like his first time on like the Hollywood set. And that's the entire film of like him getting up to the point where basically like he became a name that we now recognize. The moment that his story begins for us in reality is the last point in the movie here. And I think that's a perfect, nice amount of time that we get. with him, with building the relationships with his family, and I really enjoyed watching this young actor, Gabriel LaBelle. I really enjoyed him a lot. I thought that he was very charismatic, and I thought that Michelle Williams stole the entire movie. I felt like I love Michelle Williams as an actor. I thought that she was great as Gwen Verdon in the Fosse Verdon TV show. And I think that she has really found her decade, because here she is in another movie that's set in the 50s
Similarly
to 60s time frame, and she's doing again a great job. I was honestly shocked about Seth Rogen. I thought that Seth Rogen gave me a performance that I hadn't seen in a while, which isn't Seth, relying on his Seth-isms to get by, but actually like getting to give me what he did in oh gosh, is he in one of those
He's in Steve Jobs as Wozniak.
He's in Steve Jobs. That's the one that I was thinking of. This is kind of like a Wozniak character.
Mm-hmm. He kind of he effectively blends in very well.
Yeah. And I'm totally here for it. Honestly, like gosh, Paul Dano has had a good year, with this and also doing the Batman. Good for Paul Dano. And I felt like this was a really wholesome, like, family movie, in the bare bones of this film. This was a film that I think that, like, pretty much across the board everybody's going to enjoy, and it's not something that's like, because it's a nice easy romp to get through, because they do touch on some serious topics in this. They talk about they call it the shattering family secret. It's a good chunk of the family dynamic is this family secret, and also it talks about the anti-Semitic nature of this time period that we live in, and the fact that the Fabelmans are Jewish, like Stephen is, and it's very American as well. It's this nice little American tale about a family, kind of like almost White Noise in a sense, where it's like, it's this normal family doing normal family things and having, issues and trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. And I think that all of that is really relatable and honest and tender. And I didn't think that Steven had it in him still to make something that was still honest and tender, because of the fact that he is Steven Spielberg. He's the big budget, blockbuster extraordinaire kind of guy. And I think that this is him giving it like this is almost like a farewell for him.
Yeah. What's interesting is Stephen has said that he doesn't go to therapy, and he has never really wanted to go to therapy.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I think for him, it is his well.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that he is calling on in his storytelling, especially in all of his very best movies. He's calling on those ideas and those themes. The idea of a parent struggling with depression and feeling out of place inside of the family, and struggling with the fact that they have this innate desire to be creative, and they have no idea how to express that to their family, and their family sort of isolates them and sees them as weird or lesser because of that, is the entire crux of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Mm-hmm.
An overbearing father that thinks that you should just do something sensible and practical, and wants you to, do your homework and be a square and obey the law of the pack and so on and so forth. I think definitely is something that you then see in Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. And the dynamic of he and his father.
Yes.
And so I think that it was really interesting sitting down and starting to watch The Fabelmans, because very instantaneously, immediately, it becomes clear that all throughout his career, you can see loads of influences in his filmmaking, from also then what he's putting on this screen. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the benefits of The Fabelmans is also one of the benefits of Steve Jobs. The Fabelmans is a semi-autobiographical thing. It is drawing inspiration from his life. They are the Fabelmans, though. It is not the Spielbergs. This is not Steven. This is Sam. And I think that that's a real benefit to the movie, because then we can craft it to be about something very specifically, and we can hit on everything that's emotionally true without burying it in what's authentic to the history.
Yeah.
And similarly, I think the other thing, like you pointed out, that really is a benefit to the film is that it does hone in on a very specific time frame. Steven doesn't go and try and do a movie that is about his childhood, literally all the way up to him making West Side Story, or something like that.
We would be here for 12 hours.
Or we would have just gotten, like all shitty biopics, the Cliff Notes version of a life. Mm-hmm. That is like, and inspiration is the dream, as like the overall theme. Uh-huh. And it would have been hogwash, it would have been pretty mid. It would have been Bohemian Rhapsody. Ooh. And so I think that by, again, focusing it up on this lead up to the door of his obsession finally, and to a certain degree, the thing that has kept him isolated from his family, finally breaking forth and coming to fruition in his life as an opportunity, to pursue this thing. I think it's a really interesting and more powerful way to tell the story of a life. Mm-hmm. One of the few biopics that really, tells a whole life story is Fosse Verdon, but it does... The interesting thing that, that one does is it tells the dual narrative of two people's life together.
Yeah, and it really starts, it doesn't...
It starts in the middle, and then we flash back.
Yeah.
And that's what's effective about that one. We don't try to start and tell Gwen and Fosse's story as children, And so I think that, that's what really works here, is the conciseness of it, to also give it a theme and a drive and a purpose.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, and it also, to your point, does kind of explain a lot of where he gets his isms from. He is very much, to your point, drawing on his entire life story is his inspiration to the characters that he is creating. And it all makes sense, I don't mind seeing them here, because it's an honest, this is honest, whereas all of those things, we're pulling on those honest emotions, to get us to feel with him, obviously these things affected him so much that he couldn't, to your point, he didn't go to therapy. He just ended up putting a different name on a family member or a friend or something and putting them in a movie.
Similarly, David Lynch, anti-therapy.
Mm-hmm. What is with these people being anti-therapy? Is it back in the day when they thought that therapy was just for crazy people?
Well, David Lynch went and spoke to a psychiatrist, apparently.
And they told him he was crazy, and he said, "No, I'm not."
No, and he walked in, according to David, looked at the person and said, "I gotta be honest with you. I'm very scared that this is going to affect my creativity in some way. Is this going to affect my creativity in some way?" And they said, "It might," and he turned around and left.
Well, if you were expecting anybody to give you a set yes or no, is naive of you. in that instance, if you were expecting them to go, "No, it's not," or "Yes, bless you, it is, then I think that was very naive of him to be swayed by an absolute. Maybe is the right answer, because everyone is affected by therapy differently. It could, but it probably will not, based on your, drive and love for this art. You're not going to get rid of the thing that you enjoy, about yourself. So, maybe stop knocking therapy and realize that your expectations are too high, David.
And no, I think that, to your point, it is also probably a little bit generational as well, It's an interesting aspect to, there is literally the trope of the tortured artist, it's an entire trope that exists in fiction. And I think that definitely has some holdover of people applying that to their own personal reality, that this idea that if I take away in any way these things, it somehow is going to lessen the creative juice. I don't think that necessarily holds any water.
No, yeah. And also, the tortured artist is tortured because nobody cares about the arts. Being an artist is a poor experience, and those are the things that torture you, or just the sheer grind of doing it. But it shouldn't be the fact that you're over here, stabbing yourself because of your art. That's not what we're talking about. You shouldn't be the one inflicting the pain on yourself because it's the creative button. Maybe you should try choosing, maybe you should figure this out with therapy and find a more healthy way
to put it all on the page.
Exactly. You can be healthy and creative. You don't have to be just one. But that's what my problem is with method. You don't have to do heroin to play a heroin addict, guys. That's dumb. That's really stupid. You don't have to put yourself in the boxing ring to understand what boxing is like. No, that's stupid. Sure, educate yourself, but don't just go, okay, I've got to do this thing. So what if you're going to play an amputee? Are you going to cut off a leg? These are the extremes that you're going to. For what?
No, yeah.
For this one thing, this one time? That's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to be anorexic in order to play this part. We've got digital add-ons that we can put onto you. Just look at Steve Rogers in the first Captain America film. Mm-hmm. He was enormous. They made him smaller. They didn't make that small man big. They didn't do that. People are nuts. People are absolutely nuts. And I think that it is this weird, generational thing of being oh, I can't ask for help because that shows weakness in myself, and being weak is for sissies. And I just need to bottle all of this up and it'll boil over into art. Mm-hmm. That's toxic.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is, and I'm not sure that he's even necessarily addressed it within himself. One of the things that I think The Fabelmans as a movie touches on is this idea that his obsession with his own art is also the thing that is creating distance between him and other people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure that he ever really tapped into an awareness of that idea. But also, sometimes Steven is a little bit of an unaware artist. There's a great clip of him on Inside the Actor's Studio with James Lipton. Mm-hmm. And James Lipton is talking to Steven about his upbringing, his mathematical, science-based father, his musical mother. And at the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the emotional climax of the movie, the thing that brings this entire journey to an end, and the thing that closes this divide in communication between two different people, is a culmination of math and science and music.
Yeah, because that's the way that they communicate with the aliens in the end, is using these instruments in order to create a language,
a phonic code, sort of thing.
Exactly. This weird melding of the fact that look, Dad, you can do both, Dad. I'm sorry, any math person who looks at music and goes, this isn't math.
Isn't looking hard enough.
It doesn't understand it and has limited their point of view therein. You know, your opinion means nothing if you don't understand what you're looking at.
Yeah. And Steven Spielberg, but to the point, Steven Spielberg at the end of that clip was like, I had never really considered that or thought about that.
Yeah, because he's putting this stuff in so subconsciously.
Yeah, possibly because he has never gone to therapy.
Yeah.
That he's all just putting it in there in this sort of subconscious process, because this is where he is figuring things out.
Yeah, you know? And honestly, like, you know, going back to the movie for a second, I think that Michelle Williams does a phenomenal job playing Mrs. Fabelman, playing this artist who is
trapped.
Yeah, you know, and you can tell that art brings her so much joy and happiness, and that being kind of looked at with like a pat on the shoulder of like, you did good, kid, you know, but now are you gonna like do something else?
Well,
you know,
what's so incredible is that slow motion is so often used for big action moments, you know, to slow down someone jumping dramatically for something or something blowing up or what have you. I love that throughout this movie he uses slow motion at some of like the big emotional climaxes. Some of the big moments where someone is realizing something are the moments that he goes, let's put it in slow motion. And so then we just watch over 30 seconds a little entire emotional arc where the character starts one way and ends another way by the time that this 30-second slow-mo shot is over. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing in this movie as well.
No, yeah, you know, to your point, I think that one of the most eye-catching moments in a film, I think that, like, honestly, it might be my favorite moment in a film this year, was watching Mrs. Fabelman dance in the car light at the campsite. I think that it's perfectly shot. I think that it is this beautiful exploration into not only, you know, her just letting go and allowing herself to do this thing, because I found a lot of kinship with that, you know.
I'm obsessed on a cinematic level with a good, beautiful dance at night by limited light. Cate Blanchett's ballet by moonlight in Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Mitzi's dance by the car light here. I am all for a good moment of a character dancing at night with limited light. And I loved that. I loved
the whole scene of these you know, her just expressing herself fully without caring, without feeling like she needs to hide who she is, because like the whole part of the scene is that she's wearing this white nightgown, you know, and the eroticism of being able to see her form, not even see anything in particular. You can't actually see that she's naked under there, but like at the end of the day, it's implied that she is. And, you know, this her frantic daughter running around, you know, being like, everybody needs to look away from mom right now because she's indecent. You know, mom's lost it for a little bit. Everybody go on and pretend like this isn't happening, when they are all like watching her in the true spectacle of the fact that, you know, this is a beautiful moment. And it wasn't about the eroticism of the fact that they could see through the dress. You know, it was the experience of watching this artist perform. You know, and the differences of, to your point, you know, the mathematical side of his family versus the artists. And I thought that, and it was also
Bob
great.
is you know, Paul Dano's character is drawn in, but in a cautious way. You can almost still, I think, read it on his face. Whereas, like, you know, the Bob character
is fully invested,
is intoxicated with the moment.
Yeah, he's the one who keeps making it even better. He's like, we got to do this, you know, to fully allow you to feel like the most beautiful creature that you are in this moment, and to spread your wings for the first time in a long time. You know, it's the watching the swan dance in Black Swan, where you really get to see her perform. You know, and it's striking, and you can't look away because you understand the pain and the joy that is coming from this moment that can only be captured in this way. You know, it's a nice, quiet, sweet moment where we get to truly dive into this character's psyche. And I love it, you know. I thought that, I don't know, can she play piano?
I don't know.
I don't know if she can play piano that well, but damn, did they make it believable if she can. Like, Sis was playing that piano, and I thought that he gave a great balance of these two different sides of his life in this film.
So, if you had to rate The Fabelmans out of 5, what would you give it?
I think I'm gonna give this movie a 4.5, if only because it's so long. It's so long.
2:31.
It's so long. It feels longer than 2 hours and 31 minutes. It felt like we were watching a 3-hour movie. And like I get why it is that long, but I feel like we spend more time than necessary in his like early childhood.
I think that's fair.
You know, that point where we're like watching him do the train sequence and all of that. It's great, but I think that like where we really kick it off is once they finally get to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And because the entire movie is the pacing is set in the first bit of the movie, and the entire rest of the film takes like every scene takes 20 minutes. You know, and which is great. But also, if I had been in the theaters for this, I'd been like, guys, we've been here all day. You know, so that's my 4.5.
Okay. I think I'll go for a 4.5 as well. I do think that there was some pacing issues, if only for me, because it is so engrossing, engaging, fascinating, heartbreaking, deeply personal, for like the first hour 20 or so. And I think that last 50, though still very, very good, I think it actually ends a little bit weaker than it starts.
No, I think that's totally fair, honestly.
To a degree, I think that we could have left the movie when they moved to L.A. I think that you almost could have, or shortly thereafter.
Mm-hmm. I think that we could have really sped up after getting to LA to him getting to the studios.
Exactly, but we go on this little tangential journey that is still very interesting with his high school girlfriend and his high school bully and all of that, and it helps reinforce some of the themes and ideas of the film, but were they sold enough that we could have moved through some of that a little bit quicker? I don't know. But I think that for me, it starts much stronger than it ends, pretty much up until we hit him in college and that last, like, 10 minutes of the movie.
I think that that's totally fair. I think that you
the last 10 are strong.
Yeah, I think that to your point, I think that the true slow bit part of the movie is when we're dealing with his weird uber Christian girlfriend, who's like getting some weird kink out of the fact that like, God, Christianity is such a pompous religion, because it's she had so much pride in the fact that she was Christian and like giving him having to give himself to Jesus instead of like any thought of doing it the other way around.
Yeah.
You know, what a I don't know what he saw in that girl.
She was cute and she liked him.
Ugh. So simple.
Yeah.
He was gonna marry her.
He was gonna try.
God, is that how people go into relationships?
Sometimes, yeah.
They go, gosh, this person likes me, and they're cute.
And that's good enough.
And that's good enough.
Yeah, some people.
Oh my gosh, people have babies and then realize later on that they hate the person that they're with. But because once all of that first bit wears off, there was nothing else there.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
People look into your life. This is why therapy is important.
So I'd go with a 4.5 as well. And again, I think that I wouldn't necessarily say that it felt long, but I did think that last bit needed some trimming.
Well, I think that if we didn't have all the massive speed bump
Oh no, I was
of the his high school era, then yeah, to your point, I think that it would have felt better paced, because I think that once because that's also after the spoilers of his family, dynamic breaking apart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he didn't really know what to do after that moment in this film, until he gets to the part that makes him excited again, which is the film stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, that's pretty much all that we had for y'all. Thank you guys for joining us this year. We hope to make next year even better, if we can, and who knows? Next year might mean all sorts of different things and different changes to the situation and the film buds. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But it's been a great year, and we look forward to 2023 with y'all.
Yes, Happy New Year! Happy New Year to all. Stay safe with your New Year's festivities. And we'll see ya in 2023.
That's right.
Bye.